Maybe just try this. Try this. Take this defense unto itself, separate it from any and all conversations that you might be having about your favorite football team, and just look at it for what it is. Good morning to you. Good Monday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Steelers. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into hockey and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Penguins and Pirates that I hope you'll check out. Steelers 18, Ravens 16. Some of these scores ought to come with laugh tracks because everyone says all week long, it's going to be a 3-point game, a couple of points, whatever, 1 point, last play. And it ends up always being exactly that. And of course it was exactly that. And of course it did come down to the Ravens marching right down the field, getting a touchdown to pull within 2 points, and then needing nothing other than that conversion to tie it up. And then the conversion didn't happen, in large part because Joey Porter Jr. made yet another late game big stop, coming up the right side, making a really good read when Nelson Agholor, the wide receiver, chose to block Nick Herbig and advertise that he wasn't going out for a pass, thus letting everybody know that Lamar Jackson was in fact going to tuck and run, putting up the green light for Porter to go after him. Porter goes after him, takes him down. That's a really good defense. Okay, I'm not prepared to take it any further or compare to anything from the past, but the Steelers currently have played 10 games. They've given up 162 points. That's an obvious average of 16.2 per game. That's second best in the NFL, and it's the best the Steelers have had as an organization since 2008. You know, all those guys that were on that famous cover of ESPN, the magazine? Yeah, just them. Now, this is a different era. The NFL itself has changed quite a bit in terms of how you can defend, what you're allowed to do to defend. And if you remember some of the happy faces on that cover from 16 years ago, you'll also recall that a lot of those guys would be getting fined and suspended into oblivion in 2024. So things are going to happen like that last drive that Lamar engineered, and doubly so when you're facing the number one offense by a mile in the league. But what this team and what their games keep coming down to is who makes the big play at the big time. And consistently, actually with amazing consistency, it's been this defense. Just think about opening up this game with an early forced fumble on no less than Derrick Henry, a guy who does not fumble. But that's what Nick Herbig did, came in from behind. I was joking with Herbig afterward. I said it looked like the TJ Watt punch, like right out of the, he said he wasn't laughing. That's exactly what that was. That's what I was going for. That's what I've been coached up to do, taught up by my teammates, and there's nobody in the world better at it than 90. How about Patrick Queen of all people in his big, revenge game and everything that came up over the course of the week because the Ravens didn't want him, and Mike Tomlin's walking around the facility on the south side reminding him constantly that the Ravens didn't want him. Tomlin would even say after this game, when Queen led the team in tackles, one man's trash is another man's treasure, because he just couldn't resist either that or sending Queen out for the coin flip and everything. Boy, he loves this stuff. And when I spoke with Queen afterward, he wasn't really focused so much on this or that emotionally. He was proud of the way he played. He was proud of the takeaway, but he was really proud of the defense that he quarterbacks out there and the progress that it's made, and he should be. And I'm glad that he's now able to get more of the attention, not just for his own work, but also for what he's done with the group as a whole. He is, you're going to have to take my word for this, hugely respected in that room, because for the first few games, he sacrificed his own I got to get to this. I got to just focus on me so that he could make the group better. I said something to that effect to him afterward, and his reply was, I got no choice. That's the right way to do it. That's the right way to go about it. And then there's that Payton Wilson circus interception. It looked like, do you remember the ridiculous catch that Martavis Bryant made in Cincinnati a few years ago? You know, where he's like rolling around in midair and he's holding the ball against the back of his leg or whatever. Well, this wasn't quite that, but it's an interception, which means the ball's not even supposed to be his. But he somehow takes it away from Justice Hill, the running back who'd been sent out deep. That's a common play for the Ravens. And I didn't even know what to ask him. Listen to our exchange. And by the way, the person who comes in and interrupts us briefly is Herbig, just because he couldn't resist. Just hear it for yourself.
Just how do you concentrate like that as the ball's coming down? See, Herbig wants to know too.
Yeah,
look at that. How does that happen, man?
For me, it's just credit to my coaches and my teammates. We've worked that route thousands of times this week. Justice Hill's an amazing receiving back, so as soon as he was chowed and he ran it, they had that nasty split. I knew what was coming, so it's just a matter of prepreparation and the coaches that have got me here.
Do you feel the ball in the right hand?
Yeah. I played through his hands, and once it hit me right in the hands. So just right place, right time.
Now, I could have asked Wilson 1,000 different ways. How did you actually do that? And I wasn't going to get something like, you know what, DK, I'm just absolutely awesome. It's just not who he is. And you could hear that there. His teammates were floored by it. Queen said that's what an all-pro does. That's an all-pro level play. While at the same time, Wilson wasn't, exactly making something up when he said that the Steelers had focused on this particular Baltimore preference and practiced it a ton. They didn't just look at it on film and circle it. They actually played it out again and again and again over the course of the week. They did not want to get burned by the running back going deep, which also, by the way, is an integral component of having a good defense, having it coached well. When we come back, J1Q. Luxenberg, Garbett, Kelly & George is a personal injury law firm in Western Pennsylvania that represents injured people in automobile accidents, workers' compensation cases, and medical malpractice claims. The attorneys at Luxenberg, Garbett, Kelly & George pride themselves in doing what they say they're going to do. It's important to them that when they make you a promise, they keep that promise. And this law firm has been keeping promises for over 80 years. Luxenberg, Garbett, Kelly & George has been AV rated. That's the highest rating a law firm can receive for legal ability and ethics. And the lawyers at the firm have been designated super lawyers, that's a real thing, for over 15 years. Rare combination there. Luxenberg, Garbett, Kelly & George has offices in Cranberry, Newcastle, Beaver Falls, Butler, and Elwood City. Learn more about them at lgkg.com or by calling 888-842-5454. Again, that's 888-842-5454. Today's J1Q comes from Bob, who says, hey, DK, with a very short week until the game in Cleveland on Thursday, do you think there's any merit in the Steelers giving Justin Fields a larger role? Maybe he and Russell Wilson splitting time. It seems like it could give Russ a bit of a rest after a bruising game with a tough schedule ahead, as well as giving Justin a chance to shake off the rust and get more comfortable in case he's needed down the stretch. Bob, I can actually give you more of an answer here than you might expect. I had a couple of conversations with people. Coincidentally, I didn't know you were going to ask this, Bob, but I had talks down there in the locker room that strongly suggested that the Justin package is here to stay. And in fact, the Justin package will become more of a thing as time goes by. Although there wasn't much of it seen in this game. What was seen was very much appreciated, meaning by the coaching staff. They were satisfied with it. Justin, he wasn't wild about that slide. He didn't need to take that. But, in fairness, dude's been a quarterback his whole life. That's what you do there. That's just reflex. You slide. You're not thinking, I've got to get that extra yard to win the game. I don't fault him for that. I think that there is merit to what you're saying. I think there is merit in particular to the stuff that you brought up about the schedule. I'm not going to lie here. I hadn't considered that. But it's a great point. It's a great point to make sure that you're rotating people as much as you can in these scenarios. For anybody who doesn't know how a typical NFL schedule or an NFL team's schedule works on a short week like this, the Steelers obviously will have today off. They're not even going into the facility. There's no come on in and look at stuff or whatever. They're just off. All you'll see today is the Mike Tomlin press conference a day early. Tomorrow, Tuesday, will represent their only practice of the week. Why? Well, because the day after that is the day that you do your no pads final walkthrough. And yeah, it's going to take a toll, okay? That Herculean version of Cam Hayward, for example, that you saw in the fourth quarter, wow, was he good? He's going to be feeling it a little bit more than most. But then that's why you got Dean Lowry into the D-line rotation a little bit more yesterday. Keanu Benton had an ankle issue late. He kept playing, but that's something that both Mike Tomlin and Keanu himself acknowledged afterward they're going to have to keep an eye on with the short week. You want to use a lot of guys, so why couldn't/wouldn't the quarterback position be something that's done in that same spirit? I mean, I'll ask you, when you're watching this yesterday, whether you're in the stadium, watching on TV or whatever, other than the first time that Fields went out there, did you have a gasp to what you were watching? No, it's just another guy. It was just like a so-and-so taps out, somebody else taps in. It didn't seem all that strange, and for that matter, it didn't seem all that surprising. Also, and relevant, let's remember that Justin didn't do everything great in his 6 starts, but he was really good in the red zone, especially as they got closer to the goal line. No need to overthink this stuff. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Steelers. Don't forget that today at 4 p.m. there will be a double shot of Steelers, 4 p.m. Eastern. Thanks so much for listening every morning.